Hey everyone, we're going to start in about a minute. We are just waiting for everyone to join and then we'll start. Okay. Hi everyone, are you guys able to hear me? Just drop a quick yes or no in the chat. Everyone, am I audible? Guys, let me know if I'm audible very quickly. Audible. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Are you guys able to see the shared screen, everyone? Okay. I guess you guys had a class on unit testing and everything, right? How was it? There was a class on unit testing, right? It was an individual class. In case you missed it, you can separately watch it as well. All those people who watched it, how's your experience overall? It was good. Akash says it was good. What about the rest of the people? Awesome. Great. Okay. So, so today what we will do is we'll first of all make our common library, because now we have a microservices architecture. So we need to make sure that we have a common library. Otherwise, we have to do a lot of repetitive process again and again. Remember, in the auth service, we had to do that. Then if we will make more services, like we'll be having a booking service, then we have to make that in that booking service as well. And we don't want to be in a situation like that. Make sense? Today's class can be slightly shorter. I'm not feeling very well. Okay. So, but we'll try to make sure that we are able to kind of like make a common library at least altogether. Make sense? Everyone, is that point making sense? Okay, cool. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a brand new project. Okay. And we can call it as Uber project entity service. Okay. We'll call it as, let's say, entity service. We are not going to expose any kind of, I would say, APIs, but we are going to have some common, like we are going to have some Java classes and everything that we can maybe use in different projects altogether. Okay. So we are going to keep Gradle Groovy, Java, next, and we are going to install Lombok. We are going to use Spring Configuration Processor. Okay. We are going to use Spring Boot DevTools. We don't want to install anything around Spring Web because we don't need it. Instead, we are going to install Spring Data JPA. Okay. We'll install Flyway migration. We'll install the MySQL driver as well. Okay. And let's see, anything else if we need. Yeah, looks more or less good to me for now. If I click on create, I'll open it in a new window. And you can see it is creating a brand new project for us. Okay. I'll just quickly go to the build.gradle for the old projects. And I guess for Flyway, once again, we installed this Flyway DB MySQL 8.4.4, right? So we need this as well. Okay. So I'll go to Gradle, build.gradle, and let's see what things around Flyway it has. Okay. So it has just included Flyway MySQL. Instead of this, we are going to use the version 8.4.4. Okay. I'll refresh. And you can see everything is up and running. Make sense? Make sense, everyone? Okay. Now what we are going to do is we'll go here, main Java. Okay. And here, what we're going to do is we'll create a, one second, we'll create a new package. Okay. We'll name the package as models. Okay. We'll name the package as model. You can see similar directory we already had in the older services. You can see we had a models, right? And what I'm going to do is, let's say I'll take the base model. I'll copy paste everything from the base model. Okay. I will create a new Java class, base model, and I'll copy paste everything from to here. You can see I've copy pasted the base model to the new entity service. And let's take one more. Let's say, or I can just take all these three: booking status, driver, passenger. I'll take all these four classes and bring them here as well. You can see all of the files are here. Make sense, guys? You can see all of the files are here. I just copy pasted everything. Got it? Okay. And one more thing we need the enable JPA auditing. Enable JPA audit. Got it? Cool. Now, what is the agenda of this service? We want to make sure that this model creation and everything we don't have to do again and again. Right? That's why we are using it. Are you able to get this point? Okay. Now, this is a different Spring Boot project. This one is a different Spring Boot project. Can I say that? Okay, Saurabh says didn't understand. Saurabh, if you have been following the course from the very start, remember we had a review service. In the review, let me open the review service. Recent projects, review service, new window. In the review service also, sorry, not Gradle. In the review service also, we created a bunch of models. Then when we had our user service or auth service, we had to copy paste the models again and again. Remember? Even the Flyway migrations also, we had to bring it here. Remember in resources db.migration, we had to bring all of our Flyway migrations as well. Do you remember that? So don't you think that's not a very good way to go for? Because we had to copy paste everything again and again. Now, if I make some changes in the auth service, in the terms of models, I have to then copy paste all of those changes in the review service also. Later, if you are going to introduce 10 more microservices, then this is going to be a lot of replication. That's when we talked about the fact that we should technically segregate it in a different entity altogether. Right? So what we are going to do is we are going to kind of like make a different library inside which we are going to just maintain the models and the migrations. You can see there are DB migrations, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all of these DB migrations, copy, and paste the DB migrations as well. Okay. You're going to get all of the DB migrations as well. Are you guys able to get this point? Okay, cool. Now let's see, first of all, if we are able to run this entity service or not. I'll close the review service. Okay. And let's see if we are able to run this project or not. Okay. What does it say? It says that we have not configured our basic MySQL configurations, right? Let's do that. So nothing very specific. What we'll go is we'll go to application.properties and we will just copy paste most of the things from here. Okay. I will copy paste most of the things from here. Okay. and this should be 7476, for example. Okay. And yeah, looks more or less good. Let's try to run it now. Let's try to run it now. I guess you have done this activity multiple times. No, Ramya, you can still continue it because probably you know the problem. Okay. Can you see? What it did is it actually turned up the whole server and everything. And then now, because we don't have Spring Web, so there is no point of keeping the server alive, right? And you can see there is no error and anything coming up. So our Spring Boot project is running up and fine. Can I say that? Okay. Cool. Now, the first thing is that we need to make sure that we are able to use this entity service as a library in other Spring Boot projects. Now, generally, when we have to use a library, what do? We go to our build.gradle file and add that project as a library, and then only we are able to use it. Can I say that? For example, if I have to use Lombok, Lombok is a library. We use Lombok, and how do we use it? We add it as a dependency to the project. We rerun our build.gradle and things get added. But where does it fetches Lombok from? Where does it fetches Lombok from? It fetches Lombok from Maven Central. This is the repositories. This has the set of repositories from which we are going to actually download everything. Are you able to get this point? Okay. Now, what you can do is you can also make this library and push it to Maven Central. But pushing it to Maven Central doesn't make a lot of sense. Why? Because this is very closely related to your local project, or you can say your own project. This has no use case to go on Maven Central altogether. Ideally, we should be able to refer to this new project, which has been created. If you go by the path, you can see what's the path of this project: developer Uber Spring project, Uber entity service. And what is the path of this project? Developer Uber Spring project, Uber project auth service. So you can see we should be able to refer it from the local computer only. Like we should be able to import it from the local system altogether. We should not be able to, or we should not be required to push it to Maven Central. Can I say that? Can I say that, guys? Okay. Now for that, most of the things that we are going to do is going to be somewhere around the build.gradle file. Why? Because now we need to make sure that this library is accessible to other projects in my system. Getting my point? Okay, cool. Now, if you remember, see, we have plugins here, right? So let's quickly read about Spring Boot plugins, okay? Or plugins in the Spring Boot Groovy file. What is plugins in build.gradle? Okay. You can see plugins are reusable piece of logic that can be used across multiple projects. Plugins can have different tasks. They can have compilation related tasks, setting up source file related tasks, or adding new organizational repository based tasks, so on and so forth. So there is a plugin called as Maven Publish. There is a plugin called as Maven Publish. Let's read what is Maven Publish. Okay. The Maven Publish plugin provides the ability to publish build artifacts to Maven repository. Can you see? Everyone, is this point making sense? So this can actually help you to publish your project as a Spring Boot library altogether. Are you guys able to get this point? Yes. One way can be you can also keep this as a jar, but there is a more sophisticated way to handle this thing, Rajat. Okay, let's see that. Cool. So what we're going to do is we are going to add this Maven Publish plugin. For now, you can understand that it has one important use case, that is to make sure that we are able to publish our Maven project altogether. And you can see we have some Gradle changes. We will refresh them. Make sense, everyone? Okay. Now, how do you use it? How do you use it? Can you see in your build.gradle file, you have to add a publishing property. Then you have to add inside that you have to add a publication property, right? And then you can add your corresponding artifact related details. Are you guys able to get this point? Okay, so let's try to add that. Let's try to add that. So I will say publishing. Okay. Inside that we will say publication. Okay. and we can say Maven Java. Okay. And we will say Maven publication. Okay. And we can say from components.java. Okay. And we are going to say one more property, repositories. And here we are going to give the path to the repository. So again, we'll say Maven. And we are going to say URL is equals to URI. And here you can give the path of your repository. Okay. So how can we get the path of the whole repository? I can get the corresponding absolute path from here. If I do pwd, you can see this is the path of my repository. So save it. And this thing here. Are you guys able to get this point? What we are given, why we are giving this path? So it's kind of like a configuration that you have to do in order to make sure that you are able to set up a local plugin. And again, you can refer documentation as well. Use Maven publish to have local library, something like this. You can actually check. Okay. You can see publish a library to Maven repository. This is for global, like the online Maven Central. Okay. And if you come up here, can you see? You have to set up something like this, that where your Maven service URL is, if there is a credential required to access it, we don't need any credential or anything. So we have not added. So these are some common set of properties that you can actually add. You can refer the documentation as well. Okay, cool. The moment you did this, now you have this path that you are mentioning as a Maven service altogether. Are you guys able to get this point? Okay. Now what you can do is you can come to the CLI and you can say Gradle publish. There's a command, as far as I remember, called as Gradle publish. Okay. Let's see what happens. Can you see it says build successful? There is a warning. Let's see. Okay, no problem. It's all okay. Build successful. And you can see the Gradle publish command worked successfully. Can I say that? Now, let's say we come to the auth service. Can you see I'm inside the auth service? Inside the auth service, what are the repositories mentioned? One repository mentioned is Maven Central. One more repository you can add as Maven Local. This Maven Local is going to refer to the local set of libraries that you're going to have. Central is going to come from the Maven Central, the online platform altogether. Are you able to get this point? And here, what I can do is I can say implementation. And now I can give the whole path from here. Okay, so we'll start with the group com.example. So com.example. Okay, right. Then we are going to put a colon and we need to have our library name. So let's see, where can we give the library name? Okay, just a second, I guess. One second, let me just quickly Google this. So we have the version here. Okay, can you see, guys? Can you see this version? Can you guys see this version? Okay, this version is going to be used in order to make sure that whenever we actually make any change to our library, we are going to update this version and then again publish it. So whatever version we have published, we can get that particular version altogether. Are you guys able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. Guys, do you get an understanding of the version? Because if you carefully see, we here also have a lot of versions. Can you see? Okay. Now, one thing is missing from here. We have a group, we have a version. We don't have an artifact. Can I say that? Guys, can you see we don't have an artifact here? But if you go to the settings.gradle, this project name can actually act as your artifact. So what we can actually do is we can copy this project name from here and paste it here. Are you guys able to get this point? And then we'll put a colon and then we will get that version. So this settings.gradle file has your project name. Then we go back to the build.gradle file and we take the version from here. We take the version from here as this. Are you guys able to get this point? Say a yes or no in the chat. How I created this whole implementation name. This is the group ID. This is the project name coming from settings.gradle. And this is the version of the project that we have created. Are you guys able to get this point? Say yes or no in the chat. Yes, you can use this convention. And you can see this convention is used everywhere. You can see org.springframework.boot. This is the group ID. Then this is the project name. And if you don't put the version, then probably it gets the latest version altogether. If you have to see the version base, you can see Flyway MySQL. So org.flywaydb is the group name or group ID. This is the project name and this is the version. You can say anything in the version. You can just say 0.0.1. If you don't want to say hyphen snapshot, it can be anything. Okay. Now you can see there is a local Gradle change coming up. Can you see it says load Gradle changes. We'll do load Gradle changes. Let's see if any error will come up. No, you can see everything worked well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll go to the application.property. I'll go to the application.properties and not application.properties. Let's do one thing. Let's, for a moment, delete all the models from here. Okay. This is the auth service, guys. Can you see this is the auth service? So, or before we delete the models, instead, let's do an interesting thing. Can you see this is the passenger repository? Passenger repository is taking a passenger model. Can you see this is taking a passenger model? Now, instead of taking the passenger model from here, how about we say, for example, or let's remove this whole import. We come up here and let's write passenger. Okay. And let's see. So it's still taking passenger from the auth service model only. Just a second. Let me remove passenger from here. Let's delete it. Okay. Okay, so it has 10 usages. 1 second. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's see the installed external libraries. Okay, let's go to build.gradle. Okay, I guess this cannot find declaration to go. Just a second, why it's not showing the recommendations? Just a second, guys. Let me see why my ID is not showing me recommendations. Am I missing some steps? Let's build the project once again. Let's try to run the project once. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So now, can you see the moment I build the project, can you see now it's throwing an error. It says cannot resolve this snapshot. Can you see this? It is not able to resolve this snapshot. Are you able to get this point? Okay, that means the project has not been installed properly. So let's do one thing. Let's try to do a Gradle publish again. Okay, and let's try to run it now. Okay, so this doesn't still get it. 1 second. Let's see. Maybe I'm missing some step. So we have to add the plugins, ID, Maven publish. This already we added. And okay. Okay, we can also use this publish to Maven local. 1 second. Okay, let's try this script instead of Gradle publish. Let's try this script. Publish to Maven local. So there is one more script. Okay, this says build failed. Oh, my bad. Not here. Here. Publish to Maven local. Okay, now let's try to build the project here. Okay, yeah, this script is working. Instead of Gradle publish, you should technically use this particular command. Okay, I'll paste it in the README. Okay, do we have a README? No, let's make a README altogether. Okay, touch readme.md. Okay, and inside the README, I'll paste this command. Okay, so that you guys have it as a reference. This one, Gradle W publish to Maven local. I guess this is the new command that you can use. Once done, now let's see. It should now technically show us recommendations as well. So if I say passenger, okay, and okay, this is still not showing recommendation. Let's see. And here we should go to build.gradle. One second. Import com.example. Okay, this is still not showing recommendations. Interesting. Okay, let's reinstall it maybe. Let's refresh Gradle. Okay, let's reinstall it. And let's run it again. So the build is working fine. The build is working fine. And can you see in the external libraries, now we have com.example Uber project entity service. Can you guys see this? Everyone, are you guys able to get this? Like it has been added as an external library now. Okay, cool. Now let's just quickly expand this. You can see we have the models and everything coming up here. You can see there is the booking model and everything, right? So this will be the package. This is the package probably that we can use. Let's close it. Let's go to passenger repository and say import com.this.models.passenger. Okay, let's close this and let's see. Can you see now this passenger is coming from what? Uber project entity service dot models dot passenger. Can I say that? Okay, so what I can do is this base model. Okay, let's delete this base model. Let's delete this. Okay, delete anyway. And here inside the booking, everywhere you can see it is not able to get the base model. So what I'll do is, can you see now the recommendations are coming? So why recommendations were not coming? Because we had local classes also, so they were preceding over the external library classes. And can you see we have base model coming from here. In booking status we don't need it, in driver we will need it. So let's get it again, and in passenger also we'll need it, and I'll slowly and steadily remove everything. But you can see now if I rerun the project, okay, so there are few errors. Okay. So there is one error coming up inside services. Let's go to services, auth service. Now you can see this line is actually throwing you an error. Okay, and one second. Let's go to the passenger repository. Passenger repository is here. Let's see what's the error coming up. In auth service, we say, okay, passenger repository is auth service. Can you see this passenger model is coming from Uber auth service? It should not get from, we should not get it from Uber auth service. Instead, we should get this passenger from entity service model. Are you guys able to get this point? Right, so we have to change everything. So let's do one thing. Let's delete all of the models only so that we get all of the errors at one point of time, and then we'll refactor everything. Yep, delete anyway. So you can see I've deleted all the models. So one by one, everything is going to fail. Okay. So let's start with configuration. Do you have anything in the configurations? No. We have something is the DTO, probably. Let's see. Nothing here. Here you can see we have a passenger. So let's get the passenger from Uber entity service. This is now fine. This is all good. And now you can see auth service is all good. Passenger repository is also all good. If now I run the service, okay, one thing is left, auth passenger details. This is coming from here. So here also we need a passenger. So, oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, so here also it's good. Let's retry. Okay, one more failure. Here also we need a passenger. All good. And you can see, okay. One more failure we have. Let's check. Error creating bean with name auth filter. Okay, so user detail service. Let's go to user detail service. One second. Let's quickly check. Let's go to JWT auth filter. Filters, JWT auth filter. Okay. Inside the auth filter, it says unsatisfied dependency expressed through field user detail service. Okay, so we have a user detail service. It says error creating bean with the name user detail service IMPL. Okay. Why? Because it has an unsatisfied dependency expressed through field passenger repository. So this one. Okay, so here we have a passenger repository. Okay, okay. Error creating a bean with the name passenger repository defined in this. Declared in this, not a managed type. Okay, let's see. So probably, one second. Where is the passenger coming from? This is coming from entity service. Okay. Is there a conflict? No. Let's just quickly check. There is, I guess this is the last issue that probably is coming up. And let's see what the filter requires us to do. And if I come up here, if I go to source, main, Java models, passenger. Okay, this has been defined as entity. Okay. And okay. So there is something called as entity scan. Okay. Can you see? There is something called as entity scan. Let's try to use that. Probably this will resolve the issue for us. So what is an entity scan annotation? When writing our Spring application, we usually have entity classes. Those annotated with the @entity. Remember, for example, passenger class is an entity class because it has the @entity annotation. Are you guys able to get this point? Okay, cool. Now the problem is that because these entity classes are now not present in auth service, it is not able to scan for entities. It is using this as a normal Java class, but when you run the Spring Boot project, it has to scan for entities, right? So that it can get what all entity classes you have. So how you can do it? You can come up here. You can actually come up here and you can say @entity scan. Now you can define that where you should scan for entities apart from the current project. So you can say com.example dot let's get the same path, this one. Okay, and this one. Here, this one. Okay, so we are going to say that we are going to look for entity scan in this particular model path. Let's try to run it. And you can see our service is up and running. Okay. Now let's even try to run the service. So like test the service as well. Let's open Postman and let's try to create a brand new user maybe. Sorry, this is the wrong Postman. I believe I have two Postman versions in my machine now. I'm not sure why. Okay. So we'll go to the Uber Auth service, passenger sign up. Let's, passenger name sample3, sanket1 test.com, password is 12345, send it. And can you see, we are able to create a passenger altogether. Can I say that? Right? And if you want to sign in, we are able to sign in as well. Got it? So everything is working and we are able to integrate our models from a different service altogether. Okay. Now, technically, we do not even need the DB migrations inside auth service. So we can delete it. So we can delete it altogether. And in fact, we can also delete the dependency of Flyway. We don't even need Flyway now. Can I say that, guys? We don't even need Flyway now. Right? We need the Spring Data API because we still need the repositories and everything, but we don't need Flyway. So let's close this. Let's refresh Gradle. And now if you run the project, you can see things still work. If you try to sign in, you're able to sign in. No problem altogether. Make sense, everyone? Guys, are able to see now we do not need models in the same project. We can have models in a common place and just use it whenever we want, wherever we want. Yes. So why we required, guys, a valid question can be that why do you need a entity scan here? Because in the current project, the entities that we are using are not mentioned in the current project. They are present in some library that we are importing from. So we have to tell Spring Boot that please scan entities from here also. There can be entities in my auth service, but you have to also scan for entities in this particular path as well. Are you able to get this point? Okay. Now there can be a case that let's say you want to update something, right? You want to probably update something. So for example, let's say here in the auth service, we have, let's see, where are we using something? So let's say in the passenger property, we add one detail. I'm just randomly adding a detail. Let's see, what can be something unique? Or maybe in the driver, let's see, we have license number, phone number, bookings. Can we add something to the driver for uniqueness? Let's see. Let's say on the driver, I'm just for a moment adding a private string driver status. Okay. Or let's say, let's add private string Aadhaar card, even simpler. Aadhaar card. Got it? Okay, it will not understand the name Aadhaar. Now, can you see I've added Aadhaar card? Now, if I have to get this Aadhaar card property, right? If I have to get this Aadhaar card property in the DB, what do we have to do? We have to create a Flyway migration. Yes or no? So I'll come up here. Okay. I'll say new Flyway version migration. Okay. And okay, we have to again set up the DB connection. So I'll click plus here. And it's a MySQL connection, right? MySQL connection. User is root, password is mac@local12345. Test connection. Apply. Okay. Cool. Now it's making version 8. Okay. And we don't need any changes in the booking table altogether. Right. Let's just let's just say that, okay, update, I should say add Aadhaar to driver.sql. Okay, you can see it's making everything for us. We don't need this. Okay. So let's see. Inside the driver, we are going to add something. So let's delete all the table creation altogether. We will delete all of this as well. Okay. And a simple thing can be something like this. Alter table, this time driver, add Aadhaar card. Okay. We don't need email. We don't need password. We don't need to modify the name. Okay. We are just going to add the Aadhaar card. Make sense, guys? Okay, let's run this project. Let's parallelly, let's open the DB as well. If you come up here, which is our DB, I guess Uber DB local is our DB. Tables driver. Can you see in the columns, we don't have Aadhaar card here. Okay, let's run the project. Let's run the project. And you can see process finished. Let's refresh the DB. So let's refresh the tables. Can you see a brand new Aadhaar card column has been added? Can I say that? Can I say that? Okay. But can you see, we made some changes to the driver class. Do you think the auth service will automatically understand there has been some changes in the driver class? For example, in the repositories, if I make a new Java class, driver repository, okay, and we'll make it as an interface, add the annotation @repository, extends JPA repository of type driver coming from entity service. Okay, cool. Now, if I say optional driver, find by Aadhaar. Can you see no recommendations are coming up? Why? Because if you go to this driver class, can you see this has no property of Aadhaar card? Can I say that? Yes. What we have to do is, because we have made changes in the driver class, we need to actually publish these changes again. We have to publish these changes again. Are you guys able to get this point? Okay. So what we're going to do is, because there has been some changes, we'll go to build.gradle file. And here we will say 0.0.2. We'll change the version. We'll come to the terminal and we will again publish to Maven local. You can see it says publish to Maven local. Now we go to the auth service. We go to build.gradle and we will say take the 0.0.2. I'll refresh. I'll run the project so that it can build it. You can see the project is up and running. And now if I go to the driver repository and I go to this driver class, can you see now there is an Aadhaar card property coming up? So every time when you will make changes here, what you're going to do, you're going to publish it to Maven local. Are you able to get this point? Say a yes or no in the chat. So now you can make changes. These changes of all flyway and everything are going to stay in one place. All the models is going to stay in one place and all of your business logic can still exist here. Don't you think this is a pretty cleaner way to actually do stuff? Any questions from anyone? Anybody having any questions? Okay. Now, a question can come to your mind is that, can we see the Maven local on our system as well? So you can, so like if you are having Windows, then you can have a different path altogether. Okay. You can even check path to Maven local on Windows. Okay. You can see where is the Maven local repository. You can see this person has given the path. So in Mac OS or Linux, this is the path. In Windows, this will be the path. So let's go here, cd, this path. And can you see there is a com folder? So if I go to cd com, right, then you can see there is an example folder, example. And can you see there is a Uber project entity service? Pawan says, so for each service, the database changes will reside in the common library. So for one database, there can be, now as I mentioned, microservices can interact with multiple databases also. So let's say there is one database, Uber 1, another database, Uber 2, another database, Uber 3. So for each database, you can have one common library, like 3 library projects you can maintain. Are you able to get this point? And again, it's about what strategy you want to go for. As I mentioned in Google, everything was being done using, what do you say, protocol buffers. We used to copy paste the protocol buffer here and there. Guys, are you able to get this point? How you can now publish your own local Maven repository altogether? And this is super easy. Can you see now the code is going to be much more cleaner because all the entities are going to be at one place. Can I say that? Okay. And in fact, what I would like to do is, maybe do is that, let's say, let's delete all of these migrations. Okay. Because now all of the common migrations we are going to have in one place. So I will say delete all of these migrations. Okay. And I'll drop, I would say, let's drop the DB as well. So, because now why I'm dropping everything, because now we have a right way to actually handle everything. So mac@local 5. Drop database Uber local, Uber DB local, create database Uber DB local. Okay, now we have a database, and now we can create one brand new migration. New, let's see, do we have other? You can see Flyway init migration. Can you see? If you go to new, you go to other, you have Flyway init migration. Okay. One second. What happened? New Flyway init migration. DB connection. Okay, let's add, we have to add a DB connection. Okay. Root password test connection. Okay, this is good. Okay. Okay, URL is invalid argument, is missing a required argument. One second. Or let's use JPA buddy, I guess that would have been better. Plus Flyway init migration. Let's take the source type as models. Okay. Source type as models, DB type MySQL. Okay. Cool. Now it's taking. So you have to keep the source type as model. We have to keep the source type as model. And you can see version 1, I guess say init_db.sql. Save. Okay. And all good. Let's run the project. The moment you run the project, okay, it throws an error. Let's see very quickly. Okay. Do you remember we had a similar issue? Yes. We had a similar issue. So what we can do is the booking status. Let's see if we can have a relatively better way to handle it. Once again, let's rerun it. Okay, let's see if there is a no, if this is a known issue. Yeah, it can, maybe it's because of flyway only. It's because of flyway only. So let's do one thing. Let's open the recent project from review service, new window. There actually we had this migration, right? I'll copy paste it from here. This one, booking status should be enum. Okay. So this one, this booking status should be enum altogether. Make sense? And if I just quickly come up here, flyway schema history, let's create a new query, or let's drop very quickly. Let's drop the whole DB. Create DB. Let's run it now. Run it. One second. Da, da, da. There is a syntax error. One second. What is the syntax error? Oh, my bad. I didn't copy the column name. Booking status. Final shot, I believe. And you can see everything is up. Everything is up. If I do use over DB local, show tables, and you can see we have all the required tables currently present. And now incrementally, what we can do is we can add models here one by one and manage all the migrations at one place. Can I say that, guys? Can I say that, everyone? So if we are copying model / migration, every time there are some changes, we have to update it everywhere. Is this mechanism, or we have to you can actually probably, guys, what you can do is probably when you are building your Gradle project, right? Then you can, or yeah, generally, I guess you don't have to update the models very frequently. We are making a very small project and we are learning, so we make very incremental changes, but generally that doesn't happen. I'll see if there can be some other ways also, but I believe you have to publish it once because there are changes in the project. The other project will not be notified about it. You have to refresh once from somewhere. What probably you can do is when you are building the entity service, then you can, in your Gradle W file, you can add a script that the moment you build the Gradle project, then only you publish it. That is something that you can probably do. But on the other side, you have to refresh it once at least. Got it, everyone? So I'll push this entity service. I'll push this entity service, git init, git add all, git commit -m, added common entity service. Okay. Uber project entity service. And if you see, there are no APIs or anything, just FYI. That's why the server runs, builds, and then shuts down because there are no APIs or anything because we don't have Spring Web. Git remote, git checkout -b master, git push origin master. Here we go. And if I go up, you can see this is the command that you can actually use as well. And we have the procedure up and running. Got it, guys? Rajat is saying when we deploy, then how we'll manage. Rajat, when you will deploy, then on the server, you will also push this entity service, right? Because here I have given local path. If you see, build.gradle. Here you can see we have given the implementation. And where do we get this implementation from? Maven local. Inside Maven local, what is the path? The path is mentioned here. 1 second. If I go here, build.gradle, you can see this is the path that we have mentioned. Can you see? So there also we can mention the path. Where do we get it? Where do we get it from? And we can bundle both of them together and then push it all together. We'll see the deployment process. Don't worry. Because it's coming from local machine. Deployment also happens on some machine that's just not local to you. That's it. How many of you guys believe that this is now a better and a faster way to do things? I'll also push the auth service, get add all. Once again, let's quickly build if the build is working or not. Once again, why the build is not working? Okay, there are some flyway. Okay, my bad. So one more thing that we have to do inside the application.properties, we need to remove all the flyway related stuff. You can see all of this we need to remove. We don't need flyway altogether. Inside auth service. In any other service also, we don't need flyway. Anything else? Okay, something is still left for flyway. Let's see what is left with flyway. JWT secret, Spring Hibernate. And are we left with something around flyway? Let's do a build Gradle W clean. Okay, let's do a build now. Flyway is throwing some errors. Let's see if we have anything left for flyway. Do we have anything left for flyway? Models, auth filters, build.gradle. Why it is even finding flyway? Oh, no, we don't need Spring Web. It's not an issue. Can you say that entity service is not going to have an API? It's just a model or entity library. So we don't need an API or any kind of a network request support. That's why we didn't add it. There was no issue at some or something. Let's just quickly check, guys. What is the issue with flyway? Oh, it's now saying the same thing. Passenger repository. Enable JPA repository. Cannot refresh JPA share DM. Interesting. And this is caused by flyway initializer defined in the class path, Spring framework, auto configure, migration failing. Let's see. Where do we have flyway? Do we have to republish? I guess we republished already. We didn't make any more. Oh, 1 second. I guess, yeah, we made changes in the migration. Oh, yeah, we have to republish. Probably. So let's go to build.gradle. Let's make it 0.03 snapshot. // publish to Maven local. Inside auth service, we'll go to 0.03 snapshot, refresh, and run it. 1 second, still it is having the issue. Applied to database, resolved locally. Why it's resolving locally? Let's see. In the external libraries, Uber project entity service, DB migration. Okay, can you see? It still has those DB. Oh, it's still taking from 0.02 only. Can you see? It is still taking from 0.02 only. Can you see that? Oh, my bad. We changed the version of the local project. Yeah, we have to change it from here, 0.03. Now we refresh. And the moment we refresh, now you can see we have a newer snapshot. Let's run the project now. And boom, all good. So it was just a version issue, no problem as such. Okay, so everything is now compiling. I'll do git add all, git commit -m, refactored models from entity service, git push. And here also, git add all, git commit -m, changed version, git push. Here we go. So once again, git add all, git commit -m, changed version, push. Okay, so both the services are up, right? Both the services are up and the changes are up. Okay, so inside the entity service and auth service, both the changes are up and running. Make sense, guys? So that's how you can actually make your local library altogether that you can actually use. Anybody having any questions? Guys, anybody having any questions? Feel free to ask. Did you guys get the process how we actually created this whole library altogether and now how everything is connecting? Nobody has any questions? Ankan, Kaustubh, Akash, is everything making sense? Yes, now when we will set up the next microservice, we don't have to bother a lot about models. Okay. I have one question related to Spring JPA versus Spring JDBC template. Is there any disadvantage using JDBC instead of JPA? There is no disadvantage. It's just that JPA actually gives you a certain set of, like Spring Data JPA gives you a certain set of configuration that are pretty cool. For example, like when you set up repositories, you don't have to write your own set of methods. If you use raw JDBC, then you have to write your all of your like basics queries as well. We still have to write queries, but at least the basic set of queries we are escaped from. Are able to get this point? If you use raw JDBC, that's the issue. Okay. Cool. So this was an interesting part that I wanted to discuss. Sir, Ania, sir, how this idea of library hit to you, like common industry? So there is something called as, one second. Just a minute. There's something called as clean architecture. Okay. Clean architecture. Okay. And can you see what, like, instead of showing the definition, if I show you a project structure in, let's say, for example, C#, for example. Okay. Let me see if there is a project structure or not. Okay. If you carefully see, this is very blurry. Okay, let me show you one C# project on my local, probably. 1 second. I will uninstalled it 1 second. So I have to get it from here only. But like, if you will actually read about this clean architecture actually tells you that you have to actually refactor the code in a way such that all of the domain related stuff, your entities come inside the domain, all the domain related stuff is present inside one layer that is kind of like one of the outermost layer altogether. Okay, so let me open it. Oh, why it's not opening? Okay. So this one, can you see? Any external interfaces stays, then all the controller gateway presenter stays, all the services stays, and then the entity stays. So this is the kind of like refactoring that we have also done. Because our entities have all the business representations, right? Use case is the service layer, that is the business application use cases. Controllers are the interfaces, adapters, and everything, right? And because we are already using microservice architecture, we don't need to refactor the use cases separately in a different service, because every service, every microservice has its own set of use cases. So the service layer code of one microservice is not going to be used in any other microservice. That's why you don't need to refactor it into a different project altogether. So you can read about clean code architecture. It's a pretty interesting stuff, but again, it's a notion, or you can say it's a recommendation. People actually modify a lot of things based on their use cases. As I mentioned, in Google, all the entity classes and everything were driven by protocol buffers. So we used to a lot of time like manually copy the protocol buffers in one microservice to another microservice. Got it? So it depends where you are working, what kind of notion they are using. So that depends. Okay. Anybody else having any questions? So we'll wrap today's session here, guys. As I mentioned, like we'll have a shorter session today. I believe you got the whole process. I would highly recommend you guys to try to set up your local models separately. I have refactored everything in the auth service. Now it might be a good time for you to try refactoring in the review service. Okay. Try to do the refactoring in the review service. And from the next class, probably we'll try to set up our new microservice. And we'll also set up most of the models that we need inside our project. We'll try to set up all of them all together. Make sense, guys? That being said, let's wrap today's session here. We're going to meet soon in the next session. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a great week ahead and keep coding, everyone.